Check, check. Let's see. All right. Let's do a little quick live stream here and see if we can play with ESPHome, or the older name was ESPHome YAML. See if we can see anybody on a Friday night popping in here or not. What's up, Martin? Where are you from? I don't suspect a whole lot of people will be popping in, being it's this late on a Friday, or depending on what time zone you're in. What can I expect to be buying? All right, let me get my screen situated here. And what's up, Jay After Dark? I know there was a couple others on the Discord who were talking about firing this up and seeing who was around. We'll see if we can play with the ESPHome, or it still looks like it's ESPHome YAML on the dashboard. So what I'm going to play around with is, I messed around with it a little bit the other evening just to see, because I know they, one of the guys on Discord, I don't know if I pronounced the name right, it's like I'll just spell it OICYDWA. I'm bad with names, but it told me about on Unraid they had the Docker container for ESPHome YAML on there, and I was like, that's pretty cool. So I checked it out and plugged it in and passed in the USB to the container and flashed the ESP32 pretty easy. And I'd messed with it in the past before, but just hadn't had time and hadn't circled back to it. And I know they just did, on their recent release, did some different integrations with it, but I'm still using it with MQTT in here, and I hadn't made the transition for going to that yet, but maybe I'll do that eventually. So let's see. Probably get this window situated right. I can still see the chat. So has anybody messed with ESPHome or ESPHome YAML or whatever you want to call it? I guess the proper name now is ESPHome. I think is what they're switching the name to. I think is what it was talking about, and I was reading in here on their page. I think it was in the change log, I believe. I don't know if I can find the change log, but I was digging through, looking at all the different components. Let's see if I can find the change log. Yeah. Here's the I haven't done this part yet in Home Assistant, doing the native ESPHome API and do the configurations, integrations. I hadn't done that yet, but I'll eventually do that. The MQTT is still working fine for me. So the one thing I thought was kind of cool, and I'm still, be honest with you, just because some of the, look, there it is, view change log right there in the bottom, right? Yeah, they were talking about how it's inefficient with MQTT discovery. And this was one of the problems. I don't like to use MQTT discovery. Like same thing with the Tasmodo, because sometimes I'm testing stuff or I don't want all the relays because I just want the temperatures. I may be using, like, say, a Sonoff Basic, and I just want the temperature sensor, or if I'm using an S31 and I just want the power and I don't want to actually turn the device off. I don't want the relay and Home Assistant. I like to control everything myself, so that's why I don't like to use the MQTT Discovery. And the other problem is it does all those retained messages. And if I'm just testing a device and then I got to go clear out MQTT and it just comes a pain, I like to just copy and paste it in the YAML and be done with it and then take it out. So it looks like they've addressed that here by when the device is in or out, they don't have to deal with the retained messages. They've improved the efficiency. And I saw the MQTT is not going away. It says it's stable, but you know, there might be take time to find and fix some of the final bugs, which is fine. And I only have my dev Home Assistant rolled up to the 0.85. I actually rolled back my production one because it's a couple of issues I had I need to correct first. So I'll just stick with the MQTT on it. And what I was looking for is in my kitchen, I want to put a LED strip under the cabinet for lighting at night and automated lighting instead of overhead lighting in there. I just want lighting down below and at a dim level. And I had this strip. I don't know if you can see. Let me put this this strip. If we can see it here, it's got one RGB, and then there's a cool white and a warm white LED. And I don't know if I will go with the color. It may not be the final strip I use. I just had this strip around. So it's got the 5 channels. And because I don't know if I would, the color for me is kind of, I don't know, the kids like it, but it's kind of gimmicky. And I like to do just the cool white and warm white. Just to change the tuning or whatnot, depending on what time of day. And I know there's some strips out there that are just, you know, have the LEDs closer together than these. These seem to be pretty far apart. You know, they're probably like an inch apart or something each one. And I'll probably get one a little strip that goes better. Hey, what's up, Dinotech? So make sure we can see everything on this camera. Yes, that's what I want to do is because I have that motion sensor based on that motion nightlight right now in the kitchen, but I'm eventually gonna move that, and I should be able to put another AM312 under the cabinet where I can catch it, and then I can just tie it in because there's a ton of GPIO pins on the ESP32. And the reason why I'm going the ESP32 is just the hardware LED drivers. They're miles different than the ESP8266 since they've got that software driver. Yeah. Yes. I haven't messed with set option 19 too much, so I guess I prefer having control of my stuff. Maybe eventually, I would really like to see. I know they're doing a lot of work on it, on the auto discovery and MQTT with Tasmodo, and with Home Assistant. But what would be cool is if they used just some sort of API like this, where if the device wasn't there and you could easily control it and pop in and pop out what you didn't want, that would be pretty awesome. So it's almost there, but just not there enough for me yet. That strip, let me see if I can find, it was part of a set, and I kind of showed it before. It was a Zigbee one, and I'm not too much of a Zigbee guy. And let's see. It was QUO. Yeah, let me see if I can find it. And they had a add-on. There was a 40-inch strip, and it was $16 for the strip, just a strip, but it did have the cool white and warm white and everything. So let's see. So there's that the 40. I just did the 40-inch. It was $16 at the time of this. So, but let's see. Let me put this back up over there. Which, not a bad price. I don't, but I know you can get a lot cheaper and different things. I'm not up on my prices on the RGBWW light strips and the sizes and everything. This one is a waterproof one as well. So, but I say I don't need waterproof in the kitchen. At least I would hope not under the cabinet. Otherwise, I've got bigger problems. So, ZB flasher sticks make it work. No, Jay, I haven't. I'll be honest with you. I ordered another one of those Martin Jerry dimmers, and that'll be my last Z-Wave switch to get rid of. So I'll get rid of the Z-Wave stuff, and then all I'll have is 4 Zigbee bulbs left, and I just have issues with them, and I'm just ready for them to go. So, and it'll be a great day when I can just take the Z-Wave Zigbee stick out of the computer, and I just stick with Wi-Fi, and because it just works, for me at least. I never had any good luck with Z-Wave. I always had issues with nodes falling off, and even stuff 10 feet from the radio, and that's been multiple radios and everything. I know there's some interference issues with 900 megahertz here, so that could be, a number of problems. So, so let me put this back on the full screen. So what I found was on the Docker container, and I know they have this also for HAS.io or HAS.os, whatever you want to call it. And so what I did, I just went through with a little wizard and made one, and it will with the YAML, it automatically pops up. And drag this over here so y'all can see this. So this is the config on it, and I played around with this, and no, don't worry about it. You'll see all my passwords and stuff. I threw in some another SSID and a password that I'm just going to delete right after this live stream, and same thing for MQTT broker. I'll probably change them or just probably deactivate them and leave them in, and I'll use them back on another live stream. So, and you can see I was playing with it doing the RGBWW, but it's pretty simple from what I found. Some of the, and I'm just being honest here, some of the documentation I could see for this ESPHome can be kind of daunting for some people what to put in the YAML. There's there's really a lot of good documentation, but there's not a lot of easy, what I found, like, I guess more I'm looking for just a copy and paste kind of solution. I can copy and paste from one example and put it together with another example and just easily put things together instead of having to copy and paste out the actual docs. I like to copy and paste from different examples and kind of, make my own, hybrid between things. So first, what you have to do is, I found you had to go put the board in the board, and I did have an issue with the board. I had to find one. I used this board, ESP32 Node MCU 32S. The little wizard does all the Wi-Fi and the SSID and the password. Now, one issue I had, because I did flash this over USB first. One issue I had was on my network, and I use a combination of things without going into crazy details, but I use like the ubiquity access points and an edge router, but then I also have Pi-hole, and then I have running on a different Raspberry Pi, and then I have some rules in the firewall that actually redirects DNS through Pi-hole. So maybe Pi-hole doesn't resolve the .local addresses. So anytime I had to try to flash this over OTA and it was using the name, like just LED node 1, and it would say, can't connect LED node 1 .local. But they did have in there where it said, hey, if you're having problems, you go to this link and use static IPs. So I was already getting the static IP. I was going to give it a static IP. So temporarily, I just gave it this 1.140. And I did find if I just gave it DNS1, it threw a fit. And I did DNS. I did do DNS2, and it finally took it. So yeah, I'll be honest with Jay. I'm not doing the only thing I have done some. I do have a Sonoff bridge with a couple. I was playing with recently, well, with a couple door sensors and a water leak sensor. But other than that, I probably won't do any motion detectors with it, just because where I don't have a basement, I don't have a second story. It's all easy access for running wiring, and so I will just hardwire all of my stuff and not have to worry about batteries or other frequencies. I just use MQTT and DC power or mains powered. I don't know. I've had my run in with battery stuff. It just seems like it's a struggle. I know that doesn't fit everybody, but I guess I'm lucked out in that way, and I don't have a lot of room in the house without basements and second stories. So I guess that's my plus. So it goes through and puts all the MQTT stuff. It puts the logger, it puts the OTA, but then this output in the light, you have to go put that stuff in based on. If you go to, I had to scroll down. These are all the different sensors it does tie into. And if you come in here and you say you go to RGB light, and they do give you one example, and it allows you just to copy and paste this in. But what I did was an example was I kind of started with I'm sure everybody's familiar with the BRA multi-sensor. So what I did is then went down here and you copy the output here and the light here. And once I kind of saw what they were trying to do was you have to do the output in the PWM. And now this is the 8266, which I went in and changed it. And I saw that you were tying in the ID, the green GPIO, and you were saying, okay, green uses this and it ties in. Once I kind of saw that, it connected for me. So then went back up here to the ESP32 LED C, and just kind of adapted it based off of the information here, using because they don't use like the D1, D2, D3 on the ESP32s, which we'll get to in a second. They just actually use all the GPIO numbers because there's so many different GPIO numbers. So once I was able to find that out, combined it in, and went through and came up with this. So once you build your YAML, which is really, I was just kind of copy and pasting, didn't actually type anything in, and then I'm actually saving that on the config where the Docker container points to. You should be able to hit validate. And this is where you'll start to go through and have to fix things, and whether you say, for instance, I was talking about the DNS, but it does change things up a little bit, and you can see how it throws in everything and it validates it. And then after that, now I'm doing over the air because I've already flashed it through USB, and I did that static IP, and all you do is hit upload, and it'll go through it and compiles the binary. And you do have to scroll down the log, but it compiled the binary and it's already uploading it. And it uploads it over the air, and let's see if I can, you might be able to see the blue LED blinking every once in a while on the ESP32. And after that, you can see it reboots, it goes through, it connects to Wi-Fi and everything. It shows you the config and MQTT. And because it's using, as long as you have the auto discovery turned on in your MQTT config in Home Assistant, it'll automatically pop up in all the different sensors you put. And so if you automatically, you can see we have to config anything, and it has the LED strip here. And also the last will and testament config is in there as well. So like if you unplug it, you'll get the unavailable messages, etc. So you can see I was messing with it yesterday, and then had it unplugged all day. So everything works on it. I guess we'll fire it up and get the lights actually plugged into it. So what I was messing with are some MOSFETs. Let's see. I'll get the slide over here. Yeah, I did say discovery. But this discovery works better for me, I guess you'll say. We did, if you did earlier, we did talk about the discovery with Tasmodo, and it's there, but it's just not there yet for me. So what I was going to do first is throw in these MOSFETs, and this LED strip right here is a 12-volt LED strip, and I do have a little 12-volt power pack here. It's just a 1 amp. So if I can remember the pin out on these things, it was just 24 hours ago, huh? Because this goes off of the drain. Yeah, the negative is the right leg. So what I'll do is I'll fire it one at a time, and we'll get these things going. And we'll look like I'm sure we'll have a big mess of wires by the time we're done, because we'll have 5 channels going here. So let's see. And then the middle line goes to the now these MOSFETs, these are the IRLZ44N, and I left this thing on full brightness, left it on half brightness, left it on 25% brightness, and left it on there for different stages for a couple hours. And I even, without any type of heat sink attached to them, they were like just still cool to the touch. You know, I'm probably not pulling this LED strip, just not that long. I think it was what it said, 40 inches, I believe. So, but eventually I will probably throw this on a little one-off proto board. I'm not going to make up any PCB for it or anything, because it's just going to be a little one-off that I'm going to use in the kitchen. And otherwise, if I was making 3 or 4 of them, then I would probably do something like that, but not just a little one-off. Yeah, this should handle 20 amp. Yeah, I like to oversight, like over-engineering on electricity is always a good thing for me. So, so we'll get this one first. What channel we were using? I'm flipping over here to, we were using 25, 26, and 27 on the GPIO pins for the colors. So I'm trying to do this where y'all can see it as well, and I will zoom in here in a little bit. So we're going to put this one in 25. The one thing I don't like about most of these models of these ESP32s, you can see, is this problem right here. It's too wide for your typical breadboard, so you only end up with 1 row of jumpers on the side. Now luckily I had enough GPIO pins to play with on this side, so I scooted it all the way to this side. I've had one model of ESP32, but then the problem was they decided to silkscreen all the GPIO numbers on the bottom. So you have to, it was kind of crazy. I was having to take a picture of it and put it on the screen to see the bottom of it and then try to figure out, not get stuff backwards. It becomes a headache. And I just went this route. So, so that's 25. Let's fire in. Let's see. We need 12 volts for the power. And if we can not get everything tangled up here and not short anything out, right? It's just all low voltage. So we'll mess with this orange one first. That's going to be the red channel. And we'll see if we can get it on the right. See if we can get it on the right colors and everything. All right. So let's see. We got everything fired in, I believe. If we wired it right. Well, we're on red. So 25. That was blue, actually. So probably got that in the wrong one. So let's see if we get blue. No, not getting anything. So there we go. So if we can see on the, I got my camera in the way here. So let's see if we can slide this up. All right. So that's the red channel. I have to check that model out, Paul. I've got a couple, another batch of them that someone had recommended. I've got them somewhere else in a bag somewhere, but I'm not sure exactly what I did with them. So, so that's the red channel. That's gonna go. It's red goes on 27. So we'll put that in a different. Let's see. It's weird. It's not, the brightness is not going down on these for some reason. I'm sure, and I had this wired up last night. Do I have a bad ground? It's not going to play well, right? Oh yeah, you're right. I didn't have the ground for ESP, and I have it go over USB. I did have that last night. Nice catch there. I did have that issue. There we go. See, that's why I got you guys in the chat, right? You can fix all my mistakes. Maybe I was giving y'all a test. Yeah, so now we got brightness here. And I messed up on I'm shorting stuff out here. I don't want to do that. There we go. So it's pretty smooth. And that's the one thing I've been impressed with. With the ESP32s was how smooth those hardware LED drivers. I guess the LED C is what the proper name would be. I guess they call it. So let's see if we can fire up the other channels here. I left all these wires in here. Blue. Of course, I didn't color code anything, right? Make it easy on myself. Blue, that goes into 26. So put this in 26. And oh, no, not that way. Let's go ahead and plug all these in, otherwise I'm going to end up shorting something out. And then this yellow, and then y'all will be laughing at me because I smoked my ESP32. And then we'll not mess with the other channels just yet. So we need 2 more wires. Let's see if we can play Jenga for this thing. And that goes to 26. And we get one more. What was the other one we did? I hadn't looked at the chat here in a second. 25 and 26 and 27. And 25. All right. Let's see if we got our colors right. We'll put this back on. All right, let's see. We got blue. Yep, we got blue. And we got green. And we got green. So it's pretty smooth on the transitions. I'm just clicking around. And it might help if I turn this light out here. We'll be able to see a little bit better. Let me pull this editor up full screen. And this one needs to be flipped 180. Use a LED C as speed control for the stepper drive. Oh, okay, yeah, on a telescope. Yeah, so you better see a little better here. I turn that light off. And they get pretty bright enough. Of course, it's just on, that's always the issue on the color, is being bright enough. But it's bright enough for me in the evening, and like I say, I don't really use the color the whole lot. So we'll dim that back down so we don't blow out the, seems like LEDs always blow out the camera. Put this back on. So I want to plug in the, of course, with just the RGB, of course, you know, you still, if you put it on white, I know the camera's showing it pretty well white, but it just when you mess with it, it looks so, it looks blue, really blue. Whenever you're just, you know, combining RGB to come with the white. And really what I want to use it most time is the white. But these have that cool white and warm white. And so I need to we'll throw in 2 more of the MOSFETs. And now you can easily see why I just want to do a configuration with just warm white and cool white. Now it's not worth my time for the color, just because we don't use color a whole lot. Even on our other different things, we always have stuff on white or whatnot. So I don't have any more black jumpers, but around without digging for them, but I will. All right, let's tie these into ground. And y'all can catch me on any of my wiring mistakes again, right? And I'm not sure which one was first, but we'll find out. And then we'll plug this one into here. And then we need to change, I need to uncomment that code again. And because I think I was using, I was using 14 and 12. That's the, we'll change, we'll change them around. I'll show you how easy it is to change around. There's 14. And 12. I'll plug her back in. All right. So it should be all wired up right. So if we go back into the YAML code for it, I'd commented these out as I was playing on it. We're playing with another RGB strip, but what I did to go there was, if you go back to the ESP, it's still home lib listed on here. It's gonna be hard for me to change names, I guess. Down towards the bottom, they do have RGBWW light, and it does take some additional pieces. Of course, you've got your output, your cold white, warm white, and I just used the default they had here. If anybody, I haven't dug into and Googled even what these different numbers are. I just use the default. If anybody that's smarter about cold white and warm white wants to explain that in the chat, feel free to. Maybe we should change the numbers, make it look different. I don't know. It's gonna be hard to show on the camera, but just because of the whites are hard to show the difference on camera, you really need to kind of be in person for that. So, so kind of the same thing. Pulled it in, and I just called it CW white GPO and W white, C white GPO and GPIO, and then W white GPIO. And I need to scoot these over. I backed up too many. We would have seen if it threw a fit, right? All right, and we'll save it. And we'll go back to that ESPHome YAML dashboard, and we'll go ahead and do a validate. It does a validate. All right, invalid config, cold white is an invalid option. I forgot one piece. You do have to change the LED, the platform. It's RGBWW. You hit the equal and it'll scoot over. I haven't learned all of the little different shortcut commands. I've learned all the different block comment. Those are cool. The block comment, block uncomment. I guess I should have used that, but I'm still, I guess sometimes I forget all the different shortcuts. So validate, and now you should see on the right hand side, well, my other camera is missing it. Let's see. Let's do this. Scoot this over. There we go. Make this a little bigger here so y'all can see it. Once you do hit validate, it'll show the little LED node 1 YAML's valid, and you're good to go. Otherwise, of course, it shows you the error. And other than that, I leave it at OTA. Otherwise, if I do have it plugged in, I will use the, it'll come up with the USB port that you did. So hit upload, and it'll compile up. And it doesn't auto scroll, but if you just scroll down, and it compiles pretty quick. Based on, of course, it will have to compile more because it does cache some of the libraries it compiles. So the first time it does take a little bit longer, but once you start keeping going with it, it compiles pretty quick. And automatically reboots, and you'll see it come through, and boom. And just for anybody that is joining, don't worry. And these are all I'm not showing you my passwords. I made some SSIDs and MQTT passwords just for the stream. So I'm not giving away any passwords like the doc likes to do. So, but once it does that, you should see now in Home Assistant, now it's changed. Now we got color temperature and we got the white value, which I'm not sure how this is gonna work with, because I didn't see in here, and maybe you guys know more, but well, there it is. Cold, okay, I'll make a liar out of myself. There is a cold warm. This would be what I'm looking for right here. Cold and warm white light. We might give that a shot here and just turn off the RGB one, because that's eventually what I want to do. I want to do a LED strip, something like, let's see. I think it was cold. You had a RG, was it cold and warm white LED strip? I found a couple of them the other day. I don't need the waterproof ones. Yeah, I think this one was it. Yeah, I think this one was it. And it had the LEDs a little closer. Oh, these are 24 volts. I know there was some talk about the difference on the 24 volts and being more efficient based on with the resistors and whatnot. But I don't want to have to buy 24 volt power supplies. So this one looks, I'll eventually find one but I want to do one that's kind of similar to this, that it has the really close LEDs, warm white and the cool white, and that way I can just do just those and not have to do color or anything like that. So that's my eventual thing. So to play with the brightness should do all of them. Yeah. Let me turn the light off again. And I'll put them in. The white value is basically what I found is the brightness of how much white you're putting into it. And then the slider here just seems to transition from the warm white, and I do have them backwards. Let me flip those around right quick, and I'll reflash it. That's 12. Easier to reflash it than to change the wires around, right? It's that quick. Pretty cool. I like the little dashboard and everything. They've done, Odo's done, if I'm saying his name right, Odo Winter has done some great work on this. So, upload. And I do believe if you hit compile, it'll actually compile the bin, and you can copy the bin file out if you want to flash just the bin file. What's up, Tony? And Stuart? Oh, did I let it not finish? I thought maybe it was done, but we'll see. No, it was done. I just didn't scroll all the way down. Yeah, so they do get pretty bright once you fire up all the LEDs. Even that's kind of blowing out the camera. But it ends up with this strip, you can't, it's hard to tell. I have to turn the brightness way down. It ends up with this, let me put it on a red so you can see it's a little easier. You end up with this like zebra looking pattern because the LEDs are so far. You got the the cool white, warm white, and then the RGB, and so that's why I want to do the other one, but it's not too bad. Actually, I did put it under the cabinet in indirect light. It doesn't keep that same like zebra looking pattern. So I don't know. I might try and mount it and see how it goes with the different LEDs, but we'll just see. I have to find some different color, like if we did like a white, But you can really see the difference when you put it on true in the middle and white, and then compare it to the actual cool white and warm white. You can tell that it's putting all those RGBs is together is like that blue looking color. So I know we've already gone, yeah, I guess we did go about, what, 43, 45 minutes so far. So yeah, that's, I was kind of thinking about it too, like the diffusers. And, but because if I was going to be able to see them under the cabinet, and that way you wouldn't be able to pick out the LEDs. And the LEDs look great, but as long as you have some sort of diffuser to it, the LEDs are really look great with indirect lighting. I've got an LED strip that's actually behind the headboard in my bedroom, and you can't actually see the LED strip, so all you just see is the light shoot up the wall, and it looks great. And we use it when we're watching TV just to have like a little bit of lighting, not where it's completely dark, or if we're just in there reading reading on, Reddit, Facebook, or whatever, and just want a little bit of light. We use that LED strip. It works great. Um, so I want to change this one just to use. I didn't see this last night when I was messing with this. What's monochromatic light? That's just going to be just one channel, huh? Yeah, that's just one channel. But see, I'm going to use a cold warm. So it looks like you just change it to CWW. All right, let's put, did I close? I sure did. So it looks like, can you make the font here bigger easily without appearance? Zoom in, Control plus equals. Control, I can find the equals on here, right? There we go. That way you're not having to squint at things. Squint, make up my own words, right? So was it C? I done forgot already, right? C with a WWW. What was that shortcut again? I think Nick was telling me. Select all and press, was it Control? It was like Control K or something like that. Control KC or something like that. Nope. I don't know what that did. I'm sure by the time I get done with it, someone will post in there what the shortcut was. Does it still want, yeah, the MyReds, if I'm saying that right? So we'll comment those out with a C white, W white, warm white, and it should be okay. I should be able to leave these outputs on. Maybe let's see if it flips out on us. Let's validate. Yep, it didn't flip out on us. I guess because you don't use them, it just doesn't connect them. So let's turn this. Oh, we'll upload it. Uses 10 watts randomly throughout the day. Did you calibrate, using the S31, did you calibrate it at all or no? There we go. I did with a 30 watt. Yeah, and that should be pretty linear. It's a linear scale from what I found. And because I've calibrated one with like 1,000 watt power source, and then went back with like a 60 watt power source, and it was like pretty much dead on, no matter if I calibrated it with 60 watt versus the 1,000 watt. Yeah, okay, we used the kilowatt too. Wow, it's like, what? I see that every one. I've got this blown up real big here. Let's see. Mine's using 1 watt, if that tells you anything. It's not. Actually, that was my next question. I was like, is it some sort of washing machine with all? And you did you check the? I was just curious if you did check the washer with the kilowatt meter, and I don't know the amperage on the kilowatt, so I don't know if I would turn it on through the kilowatt, but I would just check the idle. You still seeing the 10 watts with it idle? Let's see. Yeah, see, I'm seeing. I just want to make sure. I'm just seeing it flickers between 0 and 1. And I think same thing. My dryer would do the same thing. Oh, the dryer actually, it's like it's pulling just 2 watts just sitting there. But I bet you if I went in there, and this isn't a smart dryer, um, but it does have a little segmented display on there that lights up a couple of the buttons, and it lights up the how dry you want it. And there's another setting. There's like, so it lights up several lights. So I could see those different LEDs, whether they're using what LEDs are, little incandescents. It looks like probably LEDs in it. I could see them pulling 2 watts with that display on. So, oh, so it's just little blips. Huh. That's weird. I wonder if it's some sort of surge or something like that, or backfeeding something that's kicking on and off, with a high amperage or something backfeeding for some reason. Just like kicking a surge out. What's your state saying it has? You talking? Oh, Nick's talking to. See, I'm getting sidetracked like the dog does. Let me go back to the LED strip. We'll circle back to that. So this is what I like. I like just no color, just the brightness, and you can change it from. Let me pull to the. Let me make this little window a little bigger. Y'all be able to see. Let's turn the brightness way down. Of the strip, we'll see. I don't know if it looks. You can kind of see it gets a little bluer when I switch it over, but you can see it does transition, which is kind of cool. And you can change the transition time, so. But it's pretty cool. And I guess last thing we'll throw in a simple. A DHT11. I don't have a DHT11. I may have a DHT22. We can do that and let's see what happens. I wanted to throw in a PIR right quick, and I know I've already gone almost right at an hour, so we're trying to do this real quick and without dragging on everybody's time. So let's go back here to the binary. There was a binary input, and I had it in here, the binary sensor. Let's just do a search. Binary sensor components. Yeah, binary sensor core. Yeah, class motion. They had GPIO, and this one did give a good example. And you can change, like just like in Tasmodo, you can do the pull up or no pull up. I don't use the pull up with these AM312s because they pull low automatically whenever there's no motion. So let's see. Let's find a decent GPIO pin to use this on. Let's see if we can put this a little closer for you guys without bumping the table and the camera too much. So sometimes there are certain GPIO pins you can't use on the ESP32, and there's several charts out there that say like this one's like an input only or an output only. There are a lot of cool stuff. There's capacitive touch built straight into the ESP32. And kind of what I mean by the capacitive touch, if you remember the old school lamps, were the old school touch lamps, and you can just touch from ground to, or I mean, you touch your fingers to that GPIO pin, and it'll toggle that binary just by you touching that GPIO pin. So that's kind of cool. The ESP32 is really, really powerful, and the price of them have come down a whole lot. And I know there is a Tasmodo fork of the ESP32, but it's not, I don't think Theo keeps up with it. I think someone forked it. It doesn't have all the features. So I think if you want a good solid ESP32, this ESPHome is going to be just the way to go with it, with the ESP32. So it's real simple to do. So let's see. I had just a button here. Since we want to do that temperature sensor right quick, I'll throw in, I had just this simple little push button, and I threw 2 jumpers on it before the video. And we'll see if we can just pop that to ground on, let's do GPIO 13. And maybe have to go high or go low, but I'm thinking probably want to go low with this thing. Definitely don't want to go high with 12 volts into there. But I do have 3.3 volts over there. How to move different part of your script, different cores. Really, it's much like the configuration YAML. And I've just been copying and pasting all the different pieces out of the thing. And I haven't even done a DHT. I'll dig in my box and find that DHT22. And we'll fire it up. And you've got all the I2C as well. So like the BME 280, and like if you want pressure and temperature and humidity. So we'll see how that works out. So let's look at, I said GPIO 13 for this binary sensor. 13. File, save, and pop back to the, and it does have the little dashboard, and you can see like the log. And we'll upload it. Let's see. Yeah, now you notice we threw that in. It's kind of having to compile some more stuff. So it's taking a little longer. So, but it compiles pretty quickly. This isn't too much of a beast of a computer, but I got a bunch of other stuff running on it. So it's pretty quick to still compile. Uploading over Wi-Fi, over OTA. 64%, 96%, rebooting. And it does not like this motion strip. I wonder if we do need to do a pull-up on that thing. Probably. So I bet you, yep. We need to do a pull-up on that because I can see it flickering back and forth real quick. I bet you if we went back to Home Assistant, you'll see it in the top. Yeah, you see the little man spazzing out in the top right-hand corner. Let me move this out. Let me move this out the way. The down. Yeah, you see up here, a little man spazzing out in the top. Yeah, I got, and that might be a thing with the HTML, and so he's done a great job, Nick, of making it. Trust me, I'm not pretty at making things pretty or whatever. So, but a lot of times I make stuff work, especially if I got 2 of everything. Smoke the first one and get the second one working right. Let's see. How do we do the pull-up? We just saw that in the binary. Let's do a search for binary. Binary sensor components. The GPIO. And Binary sensor pin. We'll do mode input pull up. Oh, see, they do have inverted value. You can do inverted is true. You can, oh, look, you can even do debouncing. That's kind of cool. Where debouncing is, you know, because you may not realize it and your finger's touching it and it's like it goes and it clicks it 3 times, but actually you thought you just pushed it once. So it ignores all the bunch of presses in that certain time period. So let's go ahead and throw that back in there. Yeah, I'm not gonna be Tim. I'm not gonna be able to use all of the GPIOs because I don't have enough on the side because of the breadboard. Let's see, because it's too wide for it. And we go back and we'll use. Yeah, it looked like it was actually under. Yeah, you actually had to say pin. Drag this over. For pull up. Looks like it wanted pin. Then number 13. And then let's see if it throws a fit about that. Let's do validate. Yep, it liked it. Good deal. So input pull up, and we'll close, and let's upload it and see if it'll stop flipping out. GPIO solution is on Discord chat. Let me pop over to Discord. Oh yeah, I've seen where you put in the GPIO, you're putting the jumper wires below it. I've seen someone doing that before. I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah, using those. Let's see if I can get back on there. Using those and you put them and you bring them out to the side. Yeah, I thought that was kind of genius when I saw someone else doing there, like because there was someone else complaining about not being able to, because the same thing with that, and they bring them out to the sides. Let's flip back over here and see. We should have fixed our issue with the debounce, not debounce, man, the little running man, we'll call him, right? Yep, and stop. I do have it backwards, but we can invert it. Let me pull this camera back in a little bit so you can see. Yeah, it should do. Yep. So this is just a little push button, and you can see it's kind of cool because you know you just go ahead and throw stuff in here. You're not having to. We haven't even edited anything in MQTT, so the discovery works pretty well on this. But I will say that once I pulled this off, and like you can see, I had the LED strip binary. That was something I was messing with earlier. Yesterday, and now that's a retained message. So that's kind of like, I'll say it's orphaned. So I'll have to go into MQTT and I have to stop it and get rid of the database and everything. So MQTT discovery is just, you got to remember that those retained messages. But of course, as I said, the API takes care of that. I haven't messed with the API yet. So let's go and find. Let me see if I can find my box of tricks. Look, right there. DHT22. And we'll use this. What you found, Paul? Like I said, I don't know if you missed, I did find I do have a board that actually does fit the breadboard, But the yo-yos put the GPIO silkscreen numbers on the bottom. Let's see, you get the Quin LED, part of the digital LED controller family, ESP32, Wi-Fi connected, suitable for 5 built strips. Oh, cool. Yeah, I've watched some of his stuff. On if you want to really see someone that knows his stuff about LEDs and all these cycles and the duties and everything, definitely check out his YouTube channel. He does some cool stuff with the LEDs and some great YouTube videos, all on LEDs and cool stuff on the Quin LED. So let's look back through and get the DHT22. Let's do a search. I know he's probably got to have DHT22. There it is, DHT right there. DHT22. All right. So we just throw sensor. We had the pin. Model optional. Manually specify the DHT. One can be one. It's optional. We don't. Okay, so he's using the DHT platform, so it'll auto detect automatically, and then it looks like that you can do an update interval of 60 seconds. So yeah, we'll do that. And I'll probably bring the update interval down just for the sake of this thing. So let's fire this thing up right quick. We got red. Actually got some decent color codes on this time. Red on there. We got out in the middle. We use the brown for out. And black for ground. And remind me to use 3.3 volts. And we should have... We'll just use that common ground. I had an issue with the breadboard on one of these. Was jammed up. So we're going to take GPIO 13 and we'll pull that off. Come on, who's going to tell me the shortcut? I can't remember. There's like Control K something. D4. Try hooking up to D4, see if you get the... Can't... I don't know if I have D4. Oh, are you using an ESP8266? I was thinking G4. I don't think they do a breakout on that. That must be used by the flash or something else. Yeah, no, there is. There's G4. I do see GPIO4, but I can't get to it because it's on the side. I scooted the board all the way over. I'm going to use 13 again. So let's go ahead and put the sensor up first. So I'm just going to copy in the example into the YAML, DHT22, and pin number 13. I'm assuming this will work with the ESP32. And we'll just say bench temperature. It's side note, it's kind of funny. I have some of my stuff on named bench, and bench. I use like Alpha and Bravo, and for the I got a 4-thing power strip, so I'll tell Google to turn it off and on, or the bench fan. It almost sounds like it's not saying bench. It's something very close to bench. So I need to change that from using the bench. And The 4-year-old's gonna go around saying bench, and teachers didn't think he's saying something else. Oh, I do need GPIO 13. You can't. Oh, because I was using number, right? GPIO 13. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's saying there we did right here. He did pin, but let's find out. It's supposed to validate, right? Save. And we'll validate. Oh, it's valid. Okay. Well, let's see. Sensor can't find internal pin number for GPIO 13. C6 number line 69. So it does not like that. I wonder if it's something due to that board that I used. But let's just change it to that's no problem. We'll take it and go to 13. File, save. And we'll validate again. Now it's valid. Okay, so it does like it on this particular Node MCU 32S board that I chose. Since you're not using VIM yet, yeah. Control Alt. Okay. All right, appreciate it, Nick. Oh, we're hey, Charlie. We're playing with with the on D4. I don't know if I would use D4 for, but it's got kind of blocky. I see that. So maybe we'll let it catch up here. Maybe we're overloading things, right? Let me take a look at the interwebs right quick. Might be some issue with the ISP. No, we've got good ping times and stuff, so yeah, maybe it's been a YouTube issue or something. I'm wired in Ethernet. So let me flip back over here and see if y'all can see. Yeah, it does look kind of. Oh, it even say, yeah, it does say stream resumed. Wow. Okay. But man, the quality don't look that great. Wow. Change hamsters. So I guess we'll get back before we drag this on. Maybe that's a sign, right? So we did it. We need to upload this. We validated. Let's upload it. LMT. No, I haven't looked at the LMT01. I've got several different ones. Most of the other ones are all going to be I2C sensors. I2C, I guess is the proper name of it. Let that compile. I'm going to let this compile and flash before I start sticking my grubby fingers all over it. It might short something out and mess it up during a flash, and it should flip out on the sensor. Yep. Accuracy decimals. Yep. Okay. So, oh, bumping the camera here. So we'll do brown is on that GPIO 13, and should be able to swing over here and pick up 3.3 volts off that pin, and we'll add to the 5,000 wires, right? And pick up GPI 3.3 volts. Let's see, we get invalid reading, requesting data. There we go. So should be able to pop back into Home Assistant. Is the stream really that blurry coming up? I was looking on the little preview screen. I'm not sure why it's, oh, because my quality changed way down. That's why. Okay, that maybe is just my settings. My stuff is still in the slow boat, so you're ahead of me. Yeah, I can show you a bunch of different sensors I have on there. So Let's see. No, I guess when the stream resumed, is my little on the other window. It defaulted down to 144 p, and so I did change it back to, yeah, had to bump it back up, and I guess that was a YouTube burp or something. I don't know, because that would be disturbing to be streaming it like that. That's like old school potato quality YouTube, right? So let me get back over here. We're in the Home Assistant, and we should see, probably going to be up top, the bench temperature and bench humidity. So it's pretty simple. I know someone else was asking how to hook up the DHT22. It's pretty simple to do, and I noticed that in the log, it looks like it's defaulting to Celsius, which a lot of y'all may be fine with. Some may not, but then I think because in Home Assistant, I have mine set as Imperial in the configuration YAML. I think Home Assistant's automatically converting that Celsius to Fahrenheit. Yeah, then you'll hear the You've Got Mail, Jeff. And you know you had the really good connection when it did the weird sounds. You know you had the like 40K connection, not like a 20,000K connection. I had that issue a lot. So I wonder what other settings they have. They just had update interval, temperature, record information, name. You had name, ID, all their options for the sensor. From sensor, if you're seeing a lot of invalids, try manually setting the model. Okay. Well, I'd be fine. I'm totally fine with this, being able to see the cell. I know, like in Tasmodo, like there's a set option to change the Celsius to Fahrenheit, but I'm fine, and let Home Assistant drive it based on what you have your system set to from versus Imperial or metric. So that's pretty cool. I do actually, I like the ESPHome. And I'll have to mess around with the API more, and because that's the only rub for me right now is using the MQTT side of it. But I know they're going to be fixing all that stuff with the API. And that was just released in the 8.5.0. So that's pretty cool. So I guess before we're already going an hour and 18 minutes, I don't know if there's anything else y'all wanted to chit chat before I jumped off of here. And I don't know what time it is. Everybody's in the time zones and whatnot. So flip back over. And yeah, it's just playing around, Jeff, and we're mostly messing around with the color LED strip, and you can rush it on fast forward and make me sound like Mickey Mouse, but I want to build this one just that 2-channel, and you know me, I probably will do the 2-channel, and then do the PIR sensor, and I'll probably do a temperature sensor, or I might do some sort of lux sensor or something like that. So hey Dave, yeah, lunch there, huh? I guess last thing, someone was talking about some I2C, I2C sensors. Yeah, hold on 1 second. Let me grab them right quick. All right. let's see. So we're looking the bag of the drawer of junk, right? Let's see if we can flip this. The Martin Jerry dimmer branch of Tasmodo. We may make any progress in the Martin Jerry dimmer. So I've got some of the I2Cs. This is the, let me make sure this is going to be focused correctly. The autofocus on this is just not the best. Advanced. There we go. So, yeah, this one's a lux sensor, that VMEL 6070. This is the, this may have been the one Jay was asking about. This is that TMP 102. I think he was asking LHT 102. I have to scroll back and go look. And the BME 280, which everyone's familiar with, this one there on the right. These are more, this is another lux sensor. I think the other one was a UV sensor. Of course, one of my favorites on the ESP3266 is the MCP23017, where you could add another 16 GPIO pins. Let's see what else I got in here. That's an analog digital. I thought I had some more temperature sensors, but I think that's all I have on the temperature sensors. Here's another one right here. This one, I forgot what this one is. Oh, this one's that SI7021. Oh, and here's the other. It looks like the BME 280. It's the, I think I can get it in there. It's the SHT31, and this one's pretty accurate. Now it is a little more expensive, I think, depending on where you get it from, but that one's pretty accurate. The other ones that are pretty cool, they said there's different form factors. I found the bag earlier. They look like, of course, you've probably seen the Dallas sensors. Yeah, Chris, I did get that sun-off bridge, and I had one issue with one of the door sensors. I think someone else had the same issue where the reed switch was getting stuck. So I had another reed switch. I was just going to go ahead and replace the reed switch. A hard wooden chair. You don't want me sitting in the recliner chair. The springs on it are so noisy, you'd hear my chair the whole time. So this is a chair just used for the live streams, and recording audio. These are those Dallas sensors. Now, of course, these aren't humidity. This is the waterproof one. What I wanted to do, if I can find it, of course you can never find anything. Of course you can never find anything while you're live, right? Digging for something. Here it is, right here. These are those same little Dallas sensor. It's the same Dallas sensor here, and they look almost just like little transistors, but they're the Dallas sensors. Now, of course, they're not waterproof like you see this one. You don't have the long lead on it and whatnot. But these work great, and they're just going to do temperature. But for the most part, when you want to do temperature, that's fine. You may not need humidity in entire. You don't need humidity in 10 different points of the house usually, unless you have something really weird going on. Now, temperature can change, you know, by room very easily, except for, I guess you could say, that in humidity on a bathroom. But so I probably will, when I build this one, build this one for the ESP32. I will use the ESPHome, and I want to do just 2 channels, just the cool white and warm white, and I might throw on the DHT22, and just because I have several of them, and I will throw on this little guy here, which I've used a lot before, those AM312s on the for motion sensor. So, and I'll just throw it in a little proto board, and oh, and I'll have to use a buck converter, which I have somewhere in my box, to go down from 12 volts to 5 volts. But that's fine. So I know someone's probably already got a board made for that, but so Jay, what are you seeing, Jay? Oh, LMT01s. Look at that right quick, and that'd be like probably one of the last things. Let's zoom that in right quick. Ah, okay. It's a high for 2-pin temperature sensor, easy to use, pulse count. Is just temperature. Yep. Yeah, I'm assuming so. There's no hole in it to measure humidity. Now, I wonder, does ESP, I want to take a look at some of the sensors that Odo has on here right quick. Yeah, Jeff, actually that's on the list, but I'm not going to buy that stuff because that way I can stop procrastinating. I've got one desk I've already overran, then I've got another desk on the side of it with a bookshelf, and I ended up actually building me an L-shaped workbench in this room. And so I told myself I can't buy any more stuff on here until I get my desk built. But I got to work this weekend on some stuff from work and with the government shutdown stuff, and so I'm gonna get to do it this weekend. So he does have the Dallas. What else does he have? I don't see that LT01 yet. He's got a bunch of sensors. That's pretty impressive. Pulse counter, rotary encoder. There's that SHT I just showed. I have one of these, the TSL 2561. You can grab easily the Wi-Fi signal strength. There's that touchpad I was talking about. Remote receiver, probably for IR, I'm assuming. That's one of the LED drivers, I believe, or some of the bulbs. Yeah. So that you can drive some of the bulbs. NeoPixel, remote transmitter. Yeah, we did talk about that before, Jeff. Yeah, that was several months ago. Template switch, UART switch, generic output switch. Oh, cool. That got some of the displays. I've got a couple of displays. Covers, text sensor. Oh, and you can subscribe to MQTT. Okay, that's cool. Remote transmitter hub. There's that ADS 1115. I do have one of this is a cool little board. This is a hardware LED driver as well. It's that PCA 9685. I have one of those. Some stepper. And then he's got some cookbooks thrown together for PIRs. So I think if more people start using this, and they'll throw in, as people submit more stuff, I could see them throwing in some more cookbooks. So yeah, you have other awesome automations or second order components, please feel free to add them to documentations for others to copy. So I might have to throw in some different ones. So that'd be pretty cool. I'm excited to give this a shot. And not that I'm dumping, Tasmoda or anything. It's just I've got several ESP32s that I wanted to do some projects on, and just didn't really have the time to go through and start, coding them manually. And this kind of saves me all that time. I wonder if I forgot their flower sensor, if it can do multiple. Yeah, Scott, I have that PZM module, but it's throwing me fits. I've got actually 3 of them. And I've tried following exactly how Theo built it, and I can't get the thing to register. And I know the boards work because I can plug them in using a TTL 5-volt cable through USB on the computer and hit them with Python, and they pull the current just fine. So I did see that Shelly is coming out with that. They'll have their clamp for the non-invasive clamp that you could put on, and that's in a couple months, and that might be a better solution. The PZM board, there's no case to it, and you have to put it in your own case along with powering it. So I'm kind of curious to see what the Shelly one is going to come out with. And I have been talking to another guy that I use on I use a power monitoring board, and with two clips, and it has 3 channels. And he's actually making another model of it. And I don't know if he wants to be saying too much about it, but there's another model of it that you'll be able to monitor the 3 channels, but then you can stack other channels on top of it. And I've been really impressed. It actually uses the I think it's ATME9 E32 chip. And I've been really impressed with the accuracy and how quick this thing responds. And that's the chip he used on, but I know he's making another one. Let's see, circuitsetup.us was his page. He's making another one for this, and it's pretty simple board to hook up, and it does feed AC voltage, so it can read the hertz and the voltage. But right now on this one, you just hook in the 2 split core clamps, and I have 100 amp and 100 amp on mine. I have them actually on my breaker panel, and then you put in the MISO, MOSI, clock, and CS straight to. I have it going to a Wemos D1 Mini right now, and I did do my own little custom sketch because he had a sketch that would feed to this EMON CMS. And here's a little better picture of it, where it tied together. He's got it on an ESP32, and I had Wemos around, so I was going to use that, and it worked fine. And you can see a bit of it here. I've kind of cut it down on, this is my development one, and this is for the whole house. But it does 2 phases. Well, I guess, not really 2 phase, but it's split phase here. I know someone will probably really correct me. Let me pull up my production one off the screen, make sure I don't have anything crazy. Yeah, let me change the color on this. This is my production one, but I've added, this is my own custom sketch, and I'm gonna add this in because it's actually out in my shop area, and I want to connect it to the door lock on the where the deadbolt is locked, so I can see if the door's locked or not. But it does break down and show both phases of the house. Yeah, I did have an issue with it. I think I think it was killing my database or something. But I have it feeding into Grafana as well. But it shows the frequency and the 2 legs, and I think the heater just cut off, so you can see the watts dropping back down. And I'm not doing anything a whole lot with it, but I can tell you, I was really impressed with when I was calibrating it with a 100 amp clip. Now I know it's 100. That's 100 amps at around, of course, 120 volts here for the people that are overseas, and I had it clamped on a wire that had a 8-watt LED bulb, and I could see and measure those 8 watts with ease using that 100 amp clamp, that's just a drop in the bucket for a 100 amp clamp. That's because here, we're using 8 amps for a total of 1,026 watts. But yeah, so I was really impressed with the chip. I don't know, there's no cost on anything we were just chit chatting with them. There's no cost on anything right now, but that's kind of what I want to look for and because what my idea with that was to have a third channel for another phase, but it wouldn't be another phase. You would just put that clamp on the one leg of the electric dryer, and that way you could monitor your house. Both, speaking from the U.S. with the split phase we have here, I know it's a little different. Everybody's got different phases and stuff in different countries, but where you could do the 2 phases, and then you would put the third phase on one clamp of your dryer, and that way you could do the electric dryer automations, and then you wouldn't even have anything in the laundry room at all. It would all be self-contained in the breaker panel. You looked at the 30 amp non-invasive. So Jim, what are you going to use on the other side of that split core? Is that the split core that has they probably already have the built-in burden resistor, and it's probably 0 to 1 volts? I actually had tried doing that with that I2C ADS 1115. I just didn't like the stability and the accuracy of it. And when I found this guy was actually showing it off on Reddit, and I just fell in love with how accurate it was, that board. So, Tim, were you able to get the PZM004 for the 2-phase or split phase dryer? I've got 3 of those boards, and I played with them twice, and I just can't get it with 3.3 volts. Even after doing that 1K resistor mod, I've been having issues trying to get that to read in Tasmodo. I don't know if it's a Tasmodo thing, or I might just do my own little custom sketch to try to eliminate that issue. It might be a Tasmodo thing. I'm doing something weird with it. So, but well, we got on for an hour and 30. Does the Wemo? Let me look back. When does the Wemo connect to Wi-Fi? Okay, inside the load center. Oh well, what I have actually is because the wires on those split cores are, and I didn't want to mix low voltage stuff and mixed voltages in there with inside the breaker panel. So I just put the clamps inside the breaker panel, and mine had enough room for those little wires from the clamp, and I just put the cover back on. They come out the side. And so this board, along with the Wemos D1 Mini, which is actually clear across my carport and actually in my shop, but I do have a ubiquity access point that's not far from, that covers the patio area. So you can see here I'm getting, and this is based on a 0 to 100 scale, you can see I'm getting a pretty decent Wi-Fi signal from even out there. So that's why I did pop this sensor in here. And this was like one of my little custom sketches that I put Telnet on and stuff like that, and using to, I think it pulls every 3 or 4 seconds. It pulls from it. I didn't need my energy, just constantly updating, spewing messages across MQTT. With ESP3260. Okay. See, that was my next thing to try. Was I did order, of course I'll keep on talking all night. I did order some of the little ESP01s, and I guess I should have it up on the camera, right? I did order some of the ESP01s, the little 4-pin. I wanted to try that PZM board with that with this instead of using the Sonoff Basic or something like that. See how that would work out. Yeah, Tim, I'll post that. And it's just a guy I met on. He was showing it off on Reddit. So he made these, and it was pretty cool, I thought. So he's only got 7. He's got 7 of them. So, but like I said, he is making a little newer model, I believe. I don't know when he's coming out with that. But I will say this one works great. I love it. I haven't done anything with the kilowatt hour deal, and I think I will eventually, just so I can compare my bill and whatnot with the with what I get on data. So, but all right, guys, I appreciate it, or gals, if there's any out there, and appreciate the hanging around, and expected to go this long, but we can get long-winded and chit chat. But definitely, even if you got just some ESP3266s or whatever type of board you can play with, I would definitely go play with ESPHome YAML. It's pretty cool. You can see it's pretty simple. Once you kind of get the gist of it, that you're just doing everything in that little YAML code and hitting the upload, it's pretty simple. So, and the shorter part, it just goes right into Home Assistant. So, I appreciate it, Wilbo. This was my first. I want to just give this a shot on this this laptop. I just got this laptop really mainly for the live streaming. Probably spent too much, but you don't need a laptop anyway, right? So, PIR plus manual switch on Sonoff Basic possible. Manual switch. Yeah, you can't. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I would put the PIR on the Sonoff Basic. I would put it on. I get them backwards. You got GPIO3, I think, is the RX. GPIO1 is the TX. Now that's as if we're talking about the older board revision, not the newer one where they have the longer jumper wires inside. And then I would use GPIO14 with the manual switch, and you may have to use a pull-up resistor on there of, like, say, a 10K or 4.7K pull-up resistor between 3.3 volts and GPIO 14 if you're using a manual switch. So, but the PIR, you can plug that straight in, and I would put that on GPIO 3. And then you would set that as switch 2N for no pull-up. And then you would need to also snag that state out. If you go look back at one of my motion nightlight videos, and you can find the rule that I had in there to pull that MQTT state, whether it's the 0 or the 1, and post it, and you can use that as the binary sensor, or you could make it do some other rule or something. So, all right, well, that'll be it. And y'all have a good evening, and y'all have a good weekend. I appreciate it. Y'all take care.